Coming up, hear more about an unusual incident that happened this afternoon on UK's campus involving a 1,400-pound steer on the loose.
A Lexington family describes their close call after a car slams into their house.
The Wildcats talking about their road to the Final Four, what they have to say about the close games they played along the way.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Firefighters from 4 counties continue right now to fight a fire in the Daniel Boone National Forest.
The fire started this afternoon at Farrell's Logging and Lumber on Highway 713 in Menifee County. The wind pushed the flames into the forest. WKYT's Garrett Weimer shows us what's being done to stop the fire in our top story at 5.
As you can see, still very smoky, still a very active scene out here on Indian Creek Road, where behind me, I'm told, Farrell's sawmill burnt completely to the ground, and now crews are on still active in the forest area out here, still battling a fire that spread, they say, so badly because of the wind. Firefighters say the fire started around 12:15 here, and it didn't take long for the wind to spread it, catching the forest on both sides of the road here on fire. At this hour, crews from the Division of Forestry are still working to put out the fire near Amos Ridge. But here at the sawmill, things are under control. Sadly, I'm told it's a total loss. Firefighters said the wind not only spread the fire, but it also makes it harder on crews to fight it because of the smoke that's blowing everywhere. As far as what started the fire, the cause behind all of this, told that is still under investigation. In Menifee County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
A worker at Farrell's told us an electrical problem might have sparked the fire at the sawmill, but again, that cause is still under investigation.
It's usually the cats causing excitement on the UK campus, but today a different animal caused some craziness. A steer got loose and ran around for nearly 2 hours before finally getting caught. WKYT's Jordan Lund shows us what it took to get that animal back where it belonged.
A 1,400-pound steer, a rodeo team, and an audience. Believe it or not, all of these things were seen here today on UK's campus after a steer escaped from a nearby building. The scene of a Western movie or UK's campus. It was hard to tell the difference between the two on Tuesday morning.
If you work out on the ranches, yeah, you have to be used to, cows getting out because fences break and things like that, but you would never expect it around campus.
Campus where this steer romped around for nearly 2 hours.
To them, it's a big, scary animal, but I mean, I could tell from approaching him at first, his intentions weren't to hurt anybody. He wanted to get to where he was safe.
Jared Martinez was one of the many who came out to see the steer for themselves. But Martinez was holding more than just a camera phone at his side. He also had a rope at the ready.
I'm on the rodeo team, so we're kind of used to stuff like this out in the country.
So in the middle of the city, he and another rodeo team member used their expertise to help rope the steer after it was tranquilized.
We could at least direct it, and if it's going towards traffic, we can try and anchor it down to a tree and get it to calm down some.
Just before noon, the steer was finally roped up and taken safely away in a truck. In Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
A University of Kentucky spokesperson says the steer escaped through an unsecured gate while being offloaded at a nearby research facility.
A close call for a Lexington family this morning. A couple and their grandsons were inside their home on East Hills Drive when a car came smashing through a bedroom where one of them was sleeping. WKYT's Sean Moody talked to the shocked family about what happened.
Well, there were several people inside that house when the car went smashing through the window. There's a lot of damage inside there, but amazingly, no one was hurt.
This isn't quite how the Beasley family thought their day would start.
I heard just a total kaboom crash.
Just before 11 o'clock, Minnie Beasley, her husband, and their 2 grandsons were inside when firefighters say a woman going down East Hills Drive in front of their house tried to make a U-turn. They're not sure exactly what happened, but they say she lost control. That car came through the yard straight toward the house.
And then all of a sudden, bam, a car just crashes through us.
Sean Beasley was upstairs.
Yeah, I'm just glad that this didn't collapse because I would have probably fell right on all this stuff and all this glass here. I probably could have died right there.
And his brother Zach was sleeping in a bed right across the room from that window.
Yeah, it was probably one of the greatest ways to start a morning, just full of adrenaline.
Firefighters said the woman driving that car wasn't hurt, but was pretty shaken up. No one inside the house was hurt.
Just one of those things, you know. I'm glad she's okay and nobody got hurt.
They'll get this cleaned up and remember it for years to come.
Well, at least I have a story to tell at school now.
Now, firefighters said the house is fine as far as stability goes. The family won't have to leave. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Workers boarded up the hole shortly after the car was removed. Well, it is a gorgeous day in the Bluegrass, second one in a row.
Yes, and warmer temperatures to come, I believe. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey, who's enjoying it right now. Chris?
Yeah, only drawback on a day like this, the gusty winds. And you know what? I'm really nitpicking when I'm talking about the gusty winds on a 70-plus degree afternoon for the final day of March. Look at our live sky cam as we peer out across Hamburg Pavilion. Notice the cam isn't dancing as much as it was about an hour or so ago. Let's check on the latest winds, gusting to 31 miles per hour in Lexington. 73 degrees, the current temperature. So you look at 73 degrees, full sunshine, 31 mile per hour winds, then check out the humidity. 24%. It is bone dry out there. So no outdoor burning right now. With the winds, the humidity that is low, everything is dry. So again, abide by all local burning restrictions. Those winds gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour now across most of central and eastern Kentucky. Everybody 70 to 75, exception being far northern Kentucky, 65 into the Covington, Cincinnati area. Live first alert defender, nothing showing up if you're out and about this evening. It's a good one. Upper 60s at around 7 o'clock with a slow drop toward 50 by the time we hit 11 under mainly clear skies. Overall, over the next few days, we have a very nice start to April coming up for your Wednesday. Boomers, thunderstorms on the increase, though. Latter part of the week, that introduces us into our Easter weekend. That does have a little bit of change to the forecast. We'll break it down for you when I come back here in less than 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. The undefeated Kentucky Wildcats are gearing up for a Final Four rematch.
In order to face Wisconsin, they had to go through a Notre Dame team that played a very good game, very close game. Today, the players, the Cats, talking about some other close games. WKYT's Brian Milam's here with more. Brian, a lot of people forget that don't follow Kentucky. They've had some close games.
Yeah, they had several, certainly at the start of the SEC portion of the schedule. For the 17th time, the Wildcats were in the Final Four. But the 38-0 record has certainly had some scary moments. 8 of those games were decided by 10 points or less, real nail-biters. Today, Aaron Harrison said close games brings this team closer together and it tests their resolve.
There's been great teams, obviously, and I think every great team has been in close games. No one has ran through a whole tournament or like a series or anything. So, I mean, you have to prove to know how to win tough games to be a great team, I think. And I think the close calls that we have had so far this season, that helped us win the last game and other close games before that. So I think it's made us a stronger team.
And last year when Wisconsin and Kentucky played, it was a 1-point game. They will meet up in the second game of the Final Four. And in about 45 minutes, the Cats talk about preparing for the Badgers. Sam, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. And you can see Kentucky play Wisconsin Saturday night about 8:49 on TBS. For the second year, you can also watch the game with local announcers. WKYT's own Dave Baker. Congrats, Buzz. Former UK player Rex Chapman and Kentucky alum and former WKYT sports anchor Michael Eaves will all call the game for the Cats. Again, you can watch their broadcast on TNT. As Indianapolis prepares to host the Final Four, a political crisis in Indiana is reaching a boiling point.
A new religious freedom law is drawing criticism and cries of discrimination from around the country. As Adriana Diaz shows us, Indiana's governor addressed the controversy today.
It's been a tough week here in the Hoosier State.
Indiana Governor Mike Pence says he's proud of signing the religious freedom law, but he says it's been mischaracterized, and the Republican governor is asking lawmakers for a quick fix.
I've come to the conclusion that it would be helpful to move legislation this week that makes it clear that this law does not give businesses a right to deny services to anyone.
Opponents say that's exactly what the law does. By allowing businesses to exercise religious beliefs, it opens the door to discrimination against gays and lesbians. Pence says the legislation he's requested will fix that perception.
The governor's under additional pressure because of the Final Four basketball tournament arriving in Indianapolis this weekend.
NCAA President Mark Emmert says he's concerned about how the new law might affect student athletes. He hinted he might consider moving future events out of the city. NASCAR, which races in Indianapolis, says it's disappointed with the law. And some states are going so far as to ban official travel to Indiana. State Democrats say the only fix is undoing the law altogether.
The most clear, decisive, and understandable thing we can do is to repeal the statute and repeal it promptly.
Governor Pence says it was never his intention to create a license to discriminate, but he admits Indiana now has an image problem. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Indianapolis.
Arkansas is shaping up as the next battleground. Lawmakers are voting on a religious freedom law, and the governor says he will sign it.
Lawyers from the Boston Marathon bombing suspect have rested their case. The defense called just 4 witnesses before wrapping up. They've already admitted that Johar Tsarnaev is guilty of the April 2013 attack, but they're trying to convince the jury not to give him the death penalty. The defense says that Tsarnaev's brother, Tamerlan, masterminded the attack. He died in a shootout with police days after the race bombing. A bank robbery suspect's escape from a hospital prompted a massive manhunt near Washington, D.C. Police say that Wosin Asai overpowered a security guard and stole his gun while receiving medical treatment. Asai stole 2 cars and spent several hours on the run before police finally captured him. And Lufthansa revealing new information today about that pilot suspected of intentionally crashing a plane. The German airline says Andreas Lubitz informed the company's flight school of a serious depressive episode back in 2009. Lufthansa says it provided the information to prosecutors and won't make any more comment.
A teenager accused in a multi-state crime spree appeared in court this morning. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Grayson County. Dalton Hayes is charged with stealing cars and forging checks from Kentucky to Florida with his 13-year-old girlfriend. He's also charged with rape and custodial interference. The court will determine if he's competent to stand trial, but no decision was made today. In Henry County, fire destroyed a tractor dealership. You can see from this video there isn't much left of the business. The dealership is on South Main Street in Eminence, less than a mile from the Shelby County line. Crews had to close South Main Street while they fought the fire.
It's an attempt to use humor to stop a notorious tradition. A Kentucky comedian has a message for any UK students thinking about burning the couch following the Final Four. WKYT's Mike Linden shows us the viral video in a story that's new at 5.
Normally after a big Wildcats win, you would find a piece of furniture, particularly of the couch variety, on fire here at State Street. But one Lexington comedian is trying to stop students from doing exactly that. Rather than burning the couch, she's starting a movement on Facebook urging students to save the couch.
Let's talk about stained up old couches. Let's try not to burn our furniture in the middle of the streets here in Lexington this year.
Comedian Etta May posted this video to Facebook Monday, which has quickly gone viral. It's a movement she calls Save the Couch.
I never understood why a perfectly good piece of furniture has to die just because we win or don't win a basketball game.
Some UK students say burning couches after a big win has become a tradition of sorts.
I would definitely say you can expect it at this point, just because I think the tradition started in 2012, and I think everyone just, kept on doing it, and now at this point, people have couches ready.
While May admits she may not be able to stop the burning altogether, she has a request for the students.
Do me a favor. If you are going to torch the couch, at least call me and let me see if it's better than mine.
She may be waiting a while for those phone calls. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
And as a reminder, burning indoor furniture outdoors is a code violation any time of day or night.
It's time for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. The amount of time parents spend with their children might not be as important as how they spend that time. A new study finds the number of hours parents spend has almost no impact on how their child turns out. Researchers found if you're frustrated, stressed, or sleep deprived during the time you spend with your child, it can be harmful to their development. They say children are better off if you read, share meals, and spend one-on-one time in a positive environment. Almost 1 in 10 Americans has a form of diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2. There's one thing all patients can do to manage the disease. Holly Furfer explains.
dietary approaches are really just as important as medical approaches to the treatment of diabetes.
There are even some superfoods for those who have diabetes. The American Diabetes Association recently compiled a list, and they give high marks to the following foods: beans, dark green leafy vegetables, citrus fruit, tomatoes, fish high in omega-3 fatty acids, whole grains, nuts, and fat-free milk and yogurt. But on the flip side, there are some red-flagged foods that you'll want to steer clear of if you have diabetes.
Carbohydrates that are processed, so white bread, white rice, white potatoes, sugared beverages, really because people with diabetes are at increased risk for blood vessel disease, to be very cautious and careful about saturated fats and trans fats.
So if you're diabetic and think you might need a nutritional overhaul, what's the next step?
I do think seeing a nutritionist is a good idea for somebody with diabetes, and I would recommend that highly. But importantly, especially if you're on medications in addition to your dietary approach, working along with your doctor and your team of health professionals is a good team approach.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.